everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this little quilt block here. Now this is the 6-inch finished size that you see it in here. I often get asked for this size, but I've also got one that's a little larger, the 8-inch size. That one you can take and make into a pot holder. Okay, let's get started. On your background fabric, on the really small squares, you're going to draw a line from corner to corner. So just use a ruler, line it up, and then draw a line straight across. Then place 3 of the squares in the corners, leaving one without the square in it. Place a pin to hold the squares down, and then you're going to stitch right next to the line, not on top of the line, and you're going to stitch on this side of the line that's going towards the corner. So again, right along here, and do that on all of your squares. And place the squares on the other 2 3.5-inch square blocks. After sewing, then you want to cut some of that fabric off at the corner. Cut it down to about 1/4 of an inch wide. Then at your ironing board, take each of the white fabric, fold the seam under, and then press. This is what it will look like on the back side, and then here it is on the front side. You make a total of 3 of the leaves. Take your large square of the background fabric and you're going to cut it in half. Here is the fabric for the stem. Place it on top of the fabric and line it up along the edges. I would place some pins to hold and then stitch a very narrow 1/4 of an inch seam all along here. Then take the stem fabric and fold it over the seam and press. Now place the other side of the stem on the other half square triangle. Stitch a 1/4 inch seam, then press the seam towards the other seam. This is what it should look like on the back side, and then this is what it should look like on the front. I have purposely made this block too big so that when I go to square it to the correct size needed, I have plenty of room to do that. So you want to square this down to 4.5 inches square. So on your ruler, you're going to have a diagonal line. You want to place it right down the center of the stem. And here is my 4.5 inch area here and here. So I have plenty of fabric around here in case on my first cut I make a mistake. So once you've got it all laid out and that 45-degree line is centered, go ahead and cut on this side, and then go ahead and cut on this side. Now take this corner up here and you're going to turn it around over to there. So I'm going to turn it, and then you're going to do the same thing. Take your 45-degree line, put right down the center, and then you're going to take this edge and put it on the 4.5 inch lines. So you want to make sure everything is centered correctly. Once you've got that centered, then go ahead and cut this side off and then this side. So now I have all my blocks ready to attach together. So now lay everything out the way they should be in the block, and you're going to be stitching these 2 together. So you'll bring front sides together and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. Then take these 2 blocks, bring them front sides together, and stitch a 1/4 inch seam. After you've stitched the blocks together, you want to make sure the seams on the back side are pressed going in opposite directions. For instance, this one here, this seam, is pressed going towards my right, and this seam here is pressed going towards my left. Now take the 2 rows and bring them front sides together, and then match up the seam. You want to make sure that the seam underneath is going in the opposite direction than the seam on top. Once you have it all lined up, then place a pin to hold that seam together. Then continue pinning across here, and then stitch a 1/4 inch seam. After stitching, make sure you press that seam on the back side. Then unfold it, press on the top, and push this seam all in one direction. This is what it looks like on the back, and then here it is on the front. So here is the 6-inch size, and then this is the 8-inch size. If you're interested in learning how to add sashing and cornerstones to it, I'm going to refer you to some of my other tutorials where I go in great detail on how to add sashing, or if you want sashing and cornerstones. I hope this tutorial was helpful to you and that you learned something new. If you're interested in other quilt blocks, I have many, and there will be a link to some of my quilts down below your YouTube screen in the description section. Now don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl. This is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.